Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today by supporting the Going In Raw Patreon. You can enjoy access to the live taping of the show, exclusive merchandise, and patron-only episodes, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today. Click the link in the description.
This is Charlotte, and you're watching Going In Raw. That sounds terrible.
What's up? This is the most must-see WWE superstar of all time and his lovely, gorgeous wife,
Marie.
and you are going in Raw.
What's up? It's your girl, Sasha Banks, the legit boss, and you are watching Going In Raw.
Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. And you are tuned in to Going In Raw right now. How you doing?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome to Going In Raw Review. This is the pro wrestling pay-per-view review show where we go back in time, and review old pro wrestling stuff, Larson. The weirder, the better.
Yes.
Well, not the weirder, the better. It's, you know, we review interesting items from the past, sometimes goofy, sometimes bad, sometimes good. This was good.
It was good.
This was
a good
really
show.
good.
What show are we talking about today?
ECW, Barely Legal, 1997. Is this the only Barely Legal they did?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It was their first pay-per-view, and they had some struggles getting this pay-per-view off the ground. A lot of pay-per-view providers didn't want really anything to do with ECW, especially after the mass transit incident, which happened the previous November.
Yeah, and it's funny because the main pay-per-view outlet found out about that incidentally. I guess there was some sort of interview being conducted with one of the higher ups there, and they mentioned that. The person interviewing mentioned it, and they were like, "Wait, what?" And then they told them what happened. So there were some conditions that the pay-per-view companies had.
Yeah.
Company had, distributor, whatever, had, and one of them was no excessive blood.
Yes.
And they had to start 2 hours later than most pay-per-views.
Instead of starting at 7, it started at 9.
Right.
In the evening.
Yeah. And then was there anything else? I forget if there was any other, because they were bugged out by mainly, they're trying to protect the kids, Larson. They were bugged out by Sandman bringing his kid into that angle that he did that one time.
Oh, with Raven, yeah.
With Raven, yeah. And of course the excessive violence and blood. So we didn't really get a lot of excessive violence and blood until the very end.
They saved it all for the last 10
Oh,
minutes.
my buckets and buckets of Terry Funk's blood.
Yes.
Was just smattered across this pay-per-view. In a nutshell, though, this was a very strong outing from ECW.
Yes, it was.
ECW in their prime, at their best. This was some really, really good stuff. I mean, for me, what was your match of the show? For me, it was Tazz Sabu.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Tazz was so legit.
He was. He really was.
I forgot how much I liked Tazz until watching this again.
That was one thing that some people sort of had as a knock on him, was that he carried that over apparently backstage.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't care about that. He was amazing.
Yes.
He was fantastic.
His promos were intense and believable.
Oh, man.
He was good in the ring.
Oh, they're fantastic.
Man.
Dude, I know. He was great. That time when there seemingly was no BS to Tazz. When he was trying to deliver his "I respect you" promo to Sabu, and one guy in the audience piped up, he immediately turned to him. I would have crapped my pants if I was that guy. But he basically said, "Shut your mouth."
Yeah.
It was good. It was all just the atmosphere. When I go back and I think, what wrestling arenas would I have loved to have been in, a part of the show? There's two that stand out to me. One would be something akin to, or just the Sportatorium, the WCCW days.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing because 7 out of 10 people there probably thought it was real. You know what I mean? That atmosphere felt like it was real.
Yeah.
And then ECW during this period would have been, you see that crowd, it's electric. It felt like the PWG crowd on steroids, it's insane.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
I would add Madison Square Garden to that list, especially during Bruno's run.
Bruno's run, yeah, that'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome. So let's get back.
Some old fairground in 1911 watching Frank Gotch wrestle for 8 hours. All holds.
Let's get back to Barely Legal 1997. Joey Styles opens the show. Yeah, the audio's not good. I had to really turn up my volume on my TV. And there's a lot of feedback.
There's a lot of feedback. I was like, oh, man. First pay-per-view jitters. Here we go.
And then the Dudleys come to the ring.
Yeah.
You have Bubba Ray, Devon,
Yeah.
Sign Guy, Joel Gertner.
I will almost guarantee one of two things. Either they were told, tone down your language because this is pay-per-view and we're trying to get our money. This had over 100,000 buys.
Oh,
by the way, and I think it was priced around $20. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money. So good for them.
Yes.
I will almost guarantee they said tone down your language significantly, because I remember some of the Dudley Boys promos from like their hardcore TV, and they used to say some pretty nasty things. They used to drop a lot of words that I didn't hear them dropping here on
even
ECW
Joel
barely.
Gertner's limerick
was
very toned down.
Tame, yeah, absolutely.
And going back to the audio issues during this introductory segment of the show, like you could barely understand anybody talking on the mic, but anytime anybody in the ring like so much as like walked, you could hear the ring.
I'm pretty sure that the audio we heard from their voices was coming from the
ring mic.
The ring mic. Because it's funny, you mentioned this before. I didn't really notice the ring mic until the Michinoku Pro. Of course, it takes me being beat over the head with a hammer to pay attention to anything. But like when those guys were coming off like 20-foot drops, like when they would jump off the top, turnbuckle, launch themselves in the air and hit, it was like, oh my gosh, that's hot. And then I would see somebody just walk after that, and I'm like, that is a very hot mic right there.
I think at one point during the beginning, I think Bubba Ray jumped or something.
Yeah.
And it sounded like the whole arena shook.
Yeah.
Because the mic was so loud.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's a hot mic.
Yeah, that was rad. So anyways, then we cut to the ECW theme.
Oh, best theme. ECW theme is still the best theme. It's fantastic.
Come on, we got to do it. Extreme
Championship Wrestling.
The question mark on the championship is the best.
No,
championship?
No, I feel like the question mark is after wrestling.
Wrestling.
No, say it again.
Extreme Championship.
No, that's not how you did it.
No.
You did it with a question mark
I'm
before.
doing it the right way now.
Extreme.
It's way funnier when the middle is a question.
Championship Wrestling.
You're starting to talk like
no,
Mark
it was
Calloway.
a more subtle question mark after championship.
I got
It's really more
okay.
pronounced after
You're
wrestling.
starting to turn into Mark Calloway there. Extreme.
I'm starting to lose my voice. I got another 45 minutes to an hour of talking ahead of me.
Nice.
And not a whole lot of water in my bubba here.
All right, let's breeze through this then.
Anyways, after the theme, we're back to the Dudleys. Joel Gertner, as we mentioned, is doing his limerick.
Yeah.
Out come the Eliminators.
Yes, that's right.
Perry, Saturn, and Kronos.
Yeah, they were hot, dude. They were over. They were a fantastic tag team too, man.
And I was surprised that this match between the Dudleys and the Eliminators was basically a squash match.
Yeah, it was. It totally
The Dudleys
was.
got virtually no offense in.
Yeah. What a great name, the Eliminators.
I know.
Yeah.
And they were doling out their finisher to everybody.
Yeah. Kronos did that 450. That was fantastic.
Yeah. Before the match started, Sign Guy Dudley got the Eliminators finisher.
Yeah, that's right.
They win. They beat, who'd they pin? Bubba Ray, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Bubba Ray.
With their finisher.
Bubba Ray was a big dude back then. He was a hefty seal sack right there. Like he's in fantastic shape lately.
Yeah. And then Gertner comes out after the match, and he declares the Dudleys the winner based on his stud muffin scoring system.
Yeah.
He takes a finisher from the Eliminators.
What is the name of their finisher? Do we know?
I don't know.
I forget what it is, but man, they kicked him out of his jacket.
Yeah.
Like his jacket went kind of flying off.
Yeah, that was a stiff shot.
Yeah, it was totally. He ate crap on that one.
Yeah, he did.
That was fantastic. Then we had a Sandman video package. I love the Sandman because, in my opinion, I could have been an ECW wrestler back then because he looked like pretty much me. Like he stumbles around a lot. He's got that boiler. Mm-hmm. And if I just got loaded before every match and you just don't feel the pain, you're
then
good.
You could do what he did.
And you're totally good. I can do that. I'll never forget that. God, was it Tommy Dreamer? Somebody gave a story about hitting the road with, I don't know, I think it was Sandman, Bill Alfonso, and one other guy, and Sandman took some pills or something and literally died.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I remember hearing that too.
That's terrifying. I think we were on the road together listening to that podcast.
Could be.
That was, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Then this was interesting to me. Chris Candido came to the ring.
He had an injured arm. He was originally supposed to wrestle Lance Storm.
Yeah, and so they booked RVD. We'll get to that in a second. But Chris Candido, it's funny when I watch this, I had not remembered Chris Candido ever talking before. And I don't know if this was like a normal type promo for him. I don't remember, number one, I don't remember him ever dropping promos. I remember him being a very good wrestler. Mm-hmm. And, you know, obviously he had Sonny with him, so that was cool. But, man, his voice and general promo giving ability was, in my mind, it sounded like somebody named Poindexter. Like his voice was squealing, kind of, and he sounded weird. I don't know. It was weird. What did you think of his promo? It was a bit oddball.
It wasn't the best promo.
No, it was not. It was strange. I don't know if he was putting on like a weird nerd character or something, but it was bizarre. Anyways, yeah, he was in a sling.
Yeah.
And I forget even what he said, but it was really weird.
He was talking about how he was at the first ECW show when it was Eastern Championship Wrestling. Mm-hmm. Then he went to WWF. Mm-hmm. And then now he's back, that he wanted a shot at. He's wondering why he wasn't in the triple threat match.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the gist of it.
Yeah, probably because you talk like a nerd. Next up, we had the match he was supposed to be in. Lance Storm. This his ECW debut? This was very, very this was.
I don't know if his debut, but it was very early in his run.
Very early in his run with
because he looks
ECW.
he looks young, and then he had this crazy half rat tail, half mullet.
Yeah,
because it wasn't just the thin rat tail.
Yeah.
But it wasn't wide enough to be the full mullet. It was
right.
somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And the end of it was dyed blonde.
Bleached. Wasn't there some blue in it? No, that was just his tights.
That was his tights.
Okay.
So it was just an incredible hairdo.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was incredible.
You know, it's one of the more fun things to see a guy that nobody's reacting to, and you know that he's amazing.
Yes.
You know?
That is kind of actually almost the case with RVD.
I know, which is so weird.
He joined ECW in January of '96.
Yeah.
So this is more than a year after he debuted, and he's still. It's two things: the crowd, and I'm sure they're related. The crowd isn't reacting to him the way we're used to, especially, or even just when we were watching it in '98 ECW. But also, it doesn't seem like his character of RVD is fully formed yet.
Yeah, I know. I don't think it was.
I mean, he's doing the Rob Van Dam thing,
but kind of half-assed.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's kind of just like.
It's not, at the moments we're used to. Mm-hmm. His ring entrance is different.
Yeah.
Just you can see that he's working out his character.
He had a little
way.
He had a little ways to go.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. So like later on in the show, him and Sabu and Alfonso solidify their union.
Yeah. Because at this point, Tazz and RVD were already a tag team.
Right.
But it's interesting, given all that about RVD still trying to figure out his character.
Sabu and RVD.
No, I'm speaking specifically of RVD here.
No, I know, but you said Tazz and RVD were already tag team.
Sabu, yes.
Sorry.
RVD's two promos were both really good.
Yeah, well, there was some shoot stuff going on there. So this match was great.
Yeah.
The match was fantastic. Like, these guys gave it their all. And you're right. It was absolutely bizarre watching RVD come out and get no reaction. Mm-hmm. Like, he got it was weird.
Or a muted reaction. There was a reaction, but not what we're used to.
Yeah, so he gets, and they start giving him the "You Sold Out" chant. I didn't know what that was about.
Is that back when he was talking about being Mr. Monday Night?
I thought...
Because it was 97 when they had the ECW WWE stuff.
But I thought that was after that. I thought this was right after that. I mean, it could have been in the midst of it, but I'm almost positive that
when did because there was that Raw where some ECW talents were sitting ringside, right?
Yeah. And then Lawler came over.
Mm-hmm. I know the Lawler match with Dreamer was after this.
Oh, no, it was February. You're right. No, it was before this. It was February.
Okay.
So, yeah. Look at that.
I assume that's what they were referring to. But he was more or less saying that after his win, he picked up the win over Lance Storm, that now that he won this match, it makes himself more marketable. Well, not only in ECW, but for other promotions.
Here's why his promo was so oddballs, because that was a shoot. Him and Paul Heyman hadn't booked him on the show, and him and Paul Heyman had a big spat over that, and that's why he was saying, "I'm not a second line wrestler for anybody," meaning I'm not just some replacement for Chris Candido.
Yeah.
I'm RVD, and now that I've won this, my name's going to be worth. So I think that was coming from the heart.
Oh.
He said, "My name is worth more money here, and my name will be worth more money elsewhere." Essentially saying, I can go wherever I want to go, and this is just going to help me out.
Yeah.
Even though I hate all this stuff. But I mean, I think it would seem to be that they did the old thing where RVD and Sabu were so great they couldn't be heels anymore. Like people were just going to mark out for them regardless. That would seem to be the case.
As far as this match you mentioned, it was really good. It was interesting to see Lance Storm kick out of a 5-star frog splash.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah. Well, sometimes, some people have kicked out of stunners back in 96, 97.
I know. So used to the frog splash being RVD's finisher. I don't know if at
end-all
the time
be-all,
if that was the case, because he eventually won the match.
Van Daminator, right?
With a Van Daminator, then a standing moonsault.
Oh,
right
yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
There's a rough looking spot where Lance Storm gave RVD a tiger bomb onto the chair.
Oh, yeah.
That was rough.
Yeah.
I will say this. As extreme as ECW has gone in previous shows, maybe they did this just for the pay-per-view, it seemed like everybody, when they were doing chair shots to the head,
they were pulling back.
Yeah.
And that, I'm telling you, man, you watch ECW's Hardcore TV, and it is turned up to 12.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like, that's when you see the Dudley Boys just ripping in with their promos, and that's when you see those chair shots that
they
are
were not pulling their punches.
That are
I know.
obscene.
I know.
They're so hard to watch. They're obscene. But you're right. I noticed that a couple times. There was that time, and then there was
In the main event.
Terry Funk, his chair shot, or I think he hit Stevie Richards with a chair, and it was. But we've seen Terry Funk go to town.
Oh, yes.
Let's see here.
So I'm guessing that was just for the show.
I would imagine so. Yeah, probably. So apparently, also, I forgot about this. I have to rewatch it. Pretty sure it's Beyond the Mat has Paul Heyman's.
Oh, yeah.
And I totally had forgotten about that when I was researching this a little bit.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Had
go back and actually watch
his
that. Motivational speech
before the show started. Yeah.
So then we had. I love this match. They
this
referred
match
to
was
it.
great.
They referred to it as the Michinoku Pro Match because it featured a lot of talent from Michinoku Pro Wrestling over there in Japan. It was the Great Suzuki, Gran Hamada, Masato Yakashiji versus Kaientai versus the Blue World Order Japan, which was basically Kaientai. It was Taka Michinoku, Terry Boy, and Dick Togo. And this was so much fun. You could totally see why WCW and WWF, you could see why Taka was the first cruiserweight champion in WWF. You can see why they brought Kaientai over. You could see why WCW established their own cruiserweight division, although I think they probably did that before this. But ECW is known for bringing this stuff to the forefront, and then WCW would sort of, poach stuff. Because I know that ECW mentioned Ultimo Dragon. He said over there on WCW, they call him Ultimate Dragon, which is incorrect.
Yeah.
But this stuff was absolute. I mean, this, if anything reminded me of indie wrestling today, it was this.
Yes.
This had everything.
Yes.
It had all that stuff. And man, it got the crowd hyped. It got them absolutely.
A lot of awesome spots.
So much great stuff.
And it was all fast paced.
Yeah.
Really, really good match.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that spot where God, which one? Who was it? I'm losing my notes right here. That moonsault from I think the top rope to the crowd.
Yeah.
Without saying, in PWG, when there's a spot that's going to happen, everybody gets up and everybody makes sure, okay, move out of the way. This dude, let's see, who had the mask on? I think it wasn't Dick Togo, it wasn't Terry Boy, it was
the Great.
I think it was Suzuki.
I think
it was Suzuki.
Yeah, he had the mask on.
The black mask on, the black outfit on. Moonsault from the top rope and landed in the crowd without any notice to the crowd. And they just ate it and they ECW'd it, you know?
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was fantastic. One of these guys, Yakashiji, he was dressed up like Link. Was that right? I think that was Link.
Kind of.
It looked like he had Link, very distinctive Link
kind of
gear on.
Yeah. I mean, it was green ring gear. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think like even the trim, I don't know. It looked very Linkish to me. I was like, is that a thing? Is that a thing for him? I don't know. Anyways, fantastic. It was so much fun. The Great Suzuki picked up the win with a suplex on, I forget who.
Oh, yeah, I forget too.
Terry Boy, maybe? Maybe it was Terry Boy, who named himself after Terry Funk.
Mm-hmm. After that, we had a Stevie Richards promo.
The entire time, which I was saying, wait, what is he saying? What is he saying?
Yeah, it was hard to follow.
I could have just turned it up. But I had everything else was normal volume, and then Stevie Richards shows up, and he's all, it was a little over underbite.
And then the Blue Meanie
showed
up towards the end.
I'm sorry, man. BWO Japan was way cooler than BWO Prime.
BWO was super over, though.
They were super duper over. They're just nerds. I'm not a huge Blue Meanie fan. I'm not sure what he brought to the table. And I should be because I'm a big mark for the Beatles. I just wasn't into him. I didn't like the cutoff shirt with the big belly hanging out. It was kind of unseemly. I just wasn't a fan of that. Didn't like it.
I don't think
I get that it was a
watched
riff.
enough of their stuff to really get a solid impression of what the whole thing was about. I know it was an NWO parody. I know that.
That's it. It's pretty much it. I mean, I really like that Stevie Richards was pushed so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool because I like Stevie Richards. But yeah. Anyway, so he gave a promo. It was great. It was in black and white, and then it turned to color, I think.
Yeah. Towards the end, yeah.
This was great.
Shane Douglas versus Pitbull number 2 for the television title. And this is, I don't know why I made mention of this, because they cut away from Stevie Richards' promo to a shot of the ring, and there's a lot of smoke in the arena. And I'm wondering what the heck is going on.
Oh, that's great.
And then they cut to the entrance, and there's smoke there. It's like, oh, it's for the entrance.
Yeah.
But at the time, the first shot you see is the ring. It's not motivated by anything that's going on anywhere elsewhere in the arena, so you think there's a fire.
Yeah. Which would not be surprising at all.
So the franchise comes out first. He is a television champion. He is joined by Francine's
of
course.
Butt.
And then a full security detail.
I had to look up Francine and see what she's doing these days.
Oh, what is she doing?
She's just a stay-at-home mom. Seems happy as can be. Has a fairly plain, unexciting life. She says she likes it that way. This is 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Still looks great, though.
I had forgotten how genuine their relationship seemed.
Oh, I know.
There was
right?
at one point where Franchise is doing his promo. She comes behind him and puts her hands on his hips.
I know. And it's not like salacious. It's just cute.
Yeah.
Even though her whole ass is on display.
Yeah. It just seemed genuine.
Yeah. I wonder what it was like because she says in the interview with WWE that, she was like, yeah, I'm nothing like that person back then. I wonder what it was like. Because even later on when Tommy Dreamer and Beulah come out to do commentary, Beulah's wearing something fairly conservative. She still has cleavage, and then the entire crowd starts chanting, show your tits. And it's I know, I totally get it. I'm the same as you, but there has to be some allowance for it was just a different atmosphere back then. I wonder what it was like. Was it as bad as all that, or was just, this is just what it is,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
There are all sorts of nasty chants like that. She's a whore and, she has herpes, stuff like that. So I don't know. I remember at the time just sort of taking that for granted and laughing at it, but it's these days you can't because it's that's actually messed up.
Yeah, it is messed up.
Saying that stuff is messed up.
It is messed up.
So anyways,
so the franchise drops a promo.
Hold on a second.
What?
You didn't mention the riot cops.
Oh, I did. I said
They had
the security detail.
Riot police. But
Yeah.
Joey Styles referred to them as riot police.
Yeah, I know.
It was just a couple of dudes in leather jackets.
Yeah, it was 4 guys in jackets
and
helmets.
motorcycle helmets.
Yeah.
But all they were all different. There was nothing uniform about them.
Not necessarily, no.
It was who here has a motorcycle jacket that we can use? That's Paul Heyman. It's not good? Why not?
It's not your best impression.
No, it's not.
Not.
All right.
So franchise dropped the promo.
Yeah. It was great. He had a 4-point presentation.
He did.
There are 4 reasons.
He referred to WWF as Cartoon Land.
Yeah, he did. This was funny, though, because he said shit, but they bleeped son of a bitch.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird. It's just a matter of their censor not being on point. They were probably franchise, we told you not to curse in this thing. And he was he's son of a, I can do that.
Well, he said this is ECW, though.
Yeah, exactly. This is ECW.
So the story going into this match was that Shane Douglas broke the neck of Pitbull number 1.
Correct. What do you think about that, naming yourself as a sequel, kind of?
Well, they're a tag team.
Yeah,
they're the
I know.
Pitbulls. Pitbull number 1, Pitbull number 2.
Nah, man, you need names. You have the British Bulldogs. There wasn't British Bulldog 1 and British Bulldog 2.
Well, that's how they wanted to do it. Pitbulls wanted to do it differently.
British Bulldog and Dynamite Kid.
Yeah, I knew who they were.
Yeah.
Davey Boy Smith and
Yes.
Dynamite Kid.
Yeah.
Collectively, the British Bulldogs.
Didn't he go by British Bulldog solo, though?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, did you notice how long Pitbull 2's music
well
played?
into the match.
It was all generic.
And it was very loud.
It was so generic, too. Everybody's music, because they couldn't... Okay, number one, is this a network thing, or is this a
about
pay-per-view
the music
thing?
I don't know. Because I wondered, like RVD didn't have his usual song. I just thought maybe he hadn't they hadn't started using it yet, but Sandman didn't come out to enter Sandman. So I don't know if they changed the music out.
Okay, so I'm almost positive that Paul...
Or if they change it for the pay-per-view.
It might be a network thing, because I remember Paul Heyman talking on a podcast about that specifically and saying that they wouldn't even ask for the rights they would use it.
But I don't know if it was specific to the show or just in
that
general.
might have been just for the show, for Hardcore TV. I don't know. I have no idea. You know what we have to do? Get a VHS copy, because you know that isn't changing on the VHS copy. This is the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Let's see here. I mean, here's the thing though. If it was a network thing, I would think that for when Tazz came out, they would use Tazz's WWF music.
Well, that would I don't know if they would do that.
They did that with Jericho and WCW.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Wasn't that because it sounded too much like another song?
Yeah.
I think that's why. Whereas Tazz's theme in ECW only sounds
but
like...
was this Tazz's theme?
I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, no, it was because it had the... Beat Me If You Can, Survive If I Let You.
Oh yeah.
Little voiceover bits.
His WWF theme was rad.
Yeah, it was. It's
Survive
pretty much the Shield's theme. Roman Reigns theme now. Just slow down.
What do you think of this Douglas franchise Pitbull 2 match?
It was all right.
Yeah, it was okay. It seemed.
It started out really slow.
I didn't know. So there was that one moment where Shane Douglas, I think, was powerbombing Pitbull 2 over the top rope. No, the opposite. No, it was. And then Pitbull like held on with his feet, and then Shane Douglas went toppling over him, something like that. I don't know if it seemed reckless or just really well coordinated. I don't know. Probably erring on the side of reckless.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this match seemed kind of reckless.
Yeah.
I mean, the
whole story was Pitbull number 2 was trying to break Shane Douglas's neck, and Shane Douglas was trying to break Pitbull number 2's neck.
Which is a terrible story. Because they're just going to go overboard and somebody's really going to get their neck broken. So we saw multiple pile drivers. Although the way they did the pile driver is the way you're supposed to do it. You're just supposed to he sits down and he sort of just lean up against the guy.
Yeah, you tuck your chin.
You tuck your chin and you lean up against
back,
the guy. Yeah, exactly. I always like that. I always like seeing that. I don't like to see when Lawler gave it to. I mean, I'm not even talking about Owen and Stone Cold, but when you saw Lawler give it to Andy Kaufman, those look rough.
Oh, I know. So, Pitbull number 1 gets involved in this match at one point, attacking Shane Douglas.
He leaps the guardrail.
He does.
And then the Riot Police.
Yeah, intervene.
Yeah.
Shane Douglas wins with a belly-to-belly suplex.
That cracked me up.
That was his finisher, I think, period.
It probably was. But this Pitbull 2 got hit with a giant chunk of table, probably a couple chairs, had everything... brass knucks, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
Had everything done to him.
And a belly-to-belly.
And then you see a belly-to-belly.
Yeah.
And that does him in. It's just a belly-to-belly suplex. There's no logic in the world that suggests, well, he put stank on it. Because, that's our thing. Is like, well, a cutter is a cutter, but a stunner is a stunner because it's a cutter with stank on it.
Yeah.
And only Stone Cold knows how to torque the neck.
Same with Randy and the RKO.
Exactly. But the belly to belly, that's just a belly to belly.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the least intimidating suplex.
Now, if Shane Douglas was the size of, say, Damo.
Yeah, right. That makes sense.
That would make sense.
Give him a T-bone. I know that was Tazz's thing.
Yeah.
Give him a T-bone.
So after the match, Douglas is celebrating, and someone comes out with a mask on.
This is great.
In Rick Rude's robe.
Yeah. So you can it was like a lucha mask. You can only see right here.
Yeah.
And he had Rick Rude face on, but it was kind of obvious that it wasn't Rick Rude.
Yeah. The body shape was different.
Well, yeah, but I know it was weird because the face looked like a guy who looked like Rick Rude.
A little bit.
But it turned out to be Primetime Brian Lee.
So this masked Rick Rude, who wasn't Rick Rude, gets in the ring, kisses Francine.
Yeah.
But then one of the Riot cops comes in the ring, takes off his helmet, and it's Rick Rude.
Yeah.
And he attacks Shane Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fake Rick Rude, as you said, was Primetime Brian Lee. He chokeslammed Shane Douglas. At the time, Primetime Brian Lee was a member of the Triple Threat.
Oh.
They mentioned that.
Oh. Ooh.
So this was a swerve on Brian Lee's part.
Nice. You'd think it'd be like the Clark Kent thing. It's like, who's that guy with glasses? The Superman with glasses. No, it's Clark Kent. Who's that guy with the Rick Rude mask on? Primetime Brian Lee. I can tell from his mouth. I've seen the guy talk before.
I know.
Anyways, it was great seeing Rick Rude.
Yeah.
He looked trim.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it was around. Well, I know when he died, he was planning a comeback.
But he had one match in ECW in '97. I don't remember if it was before
Was it
or
a
after
tag
this.
match?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was before or after this.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I know he dilly-dallied there. It was kind of shocking. I watched like one of his promos, and on his way out of the ring, he dropped an F-bomb, and I was like, Rick Rude. Yeah, that's not polite of you to say those things.
Oh, it was the main event for Heatwave '97.
Really? Who?
Yeah.
What was the match?
It was a 6-man tag match. Here, hold on.
That was after this, right?
Yeah. It was...
Brian Lee.
No, it was RVD, Sabu, and Jerry Lawler against Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, and Rick Rude in a steel cage match.
That's great that Lawler was there. Lawler's a stud. I love Lawler. Fake Rick Rude. Does Brian Lee then hold the record for most fake wrestler appearances?
It's at least 2.
That's 2 right there.
Yeah.
See if maybe there's more. We'll have to look at his milieu.
Yes. After that, we had a Raven promo.
This was cool.
Raven was great.
Raven's always great. Raven looked great. Raven's one of the few wrestlers who looks like something I would want to look like. Good looking dude, had cool hair, and then he dressed the way that I dressed. Cool grunge attire.
Agreed.
Oh man. Then we had a Tazz promo.
Fantastic.
This was great. This was so fantastic. He was cutting a promo on Tazz, and it was, man, I love ECW's production value back then. It was so legit. It was like just close up on his face, and then Bill Alfonso was kind of hovering in the background, but it was still kind of on close up. He was right there with him, and he was just running down Sabu. It was great. He was telling Sabu all the things he was going to do to him.
And it was fantastic.
So great.
Which took us to Sabu versus Tazz.
Kind of crazy that Bill Alfonso is still around.
I know.
I mean, I legitimately thought, I was like, because Lacey was sort of half watching this. She was like, that dude's probably dead, right? And I was like, I was literally just thinking that. I looked it up. He is still alive. So good on Bill Alfonso. He still kind of looks the same, too. He always looked like he was old.
Yeah, even when he was a referee.
Even when he was a referee.
In WWF, yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a great match. Sabu got busted open really early in the match because Tazz was giving him a bunch of forearms to the face.
I think I saw when it happened. And I think it was a miscommunication because Sabu went low. He like sort of trucked in low as Tazz was swinging in, and I'm almost positive that he connected.
Could be
wrong about that, but it looked like I was like, oh, that might have been the part right there because very shortly after that, they cut the close up and he's like...
Yeah.
He's got a broken
nose.
nose.
There was a table spot where Tazz put Sabu through a table.
There were so many spots.
Yeah.
There were so many spots. There was so much stuff going on here. When Sabu, I'll never get tired of seeing Sabu launch himself off a chair, which then is off the top rope into the crowd. Into the crowd. I will never get tired of seeing that. It was amazing. It's amazing every time you see that.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
The Tazz is selling a shoulder injury through the whole match. Because I guess the commentary, Joey Styles referenced the shoulder surgery or something that Tazz had prior to this match.
Right.
So that played into the story. Sabu tried to put Tazz in the Tazz mission.
Yeah.
And then Tazz reverses into a pretty rough belly to back Tazzplex.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah. Sabu kind of got folded up.
Yeah, and then there was like a series of Tazzplexes after that.
Yeah, they all look bad.
I know.
Yeah.
So it was Tazz working the neck and head of Sabu just kind of doing Sabu things.
Yeah.
The finish saw Tazz put Sabu in the Tazz mission. Sabu passes out. Ref calls for the bell. Tazz is your winner.
So the match sort of the tide was turned when Sabu tried to put Tazz through a table after launching off the top, like over the top rope, but Tazz pushed him off. Did that seem botchy to you?
I don't know.
Because it looked like Tazz was supposed to go with him.
Oh, could be.
That's what it looked like to me, but Sabu kind of slingshotted past him. And it seemed like Tazz didn't have a chance to like go with him into it. I think they were both supposed to go.
Could be.
I could be wrong about that. I mean, it played into the story of the match really well.
And Joey Styles really used that moment to sell Sabu hurting his neck.
Yeah, totally.
So after the match, Tazz gets the mic, drops a promo talking about how Sabu gave Tazz the fight of his life.
Took him to his limits.
Yeah, and he respects Sabu, extends his hand. They shake hands.
Sabu raises Tazz's hand.
RVD comes out and attacks Tazz, and for a moment Sabu is hesitant. He doesn't know what he's going to do.
Right.
But then Tazz goes after RVD. Then Sabu and RVD team up to attack Tazz.
Yeah.
Sabu puts Tazz through a table, puts Tazz in the Tazz mission.
Yeah.
At this point, or after that, Bill Alfonso gets in the ring. He's wearing his Tazz orange button-up, takes that off. Underneath is a Tazz T-shirt.
Yeah.
He takes that off.
Yeah.
Underneath that is a Sabu T-shirt.
Multiple layers of swerve.
Yes.
Yeah, that's good.
So
that was no, but they don't do that enough these days. When's the last time you saw a T-shirt reveal swerve? A long time.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't seen that happen in a long time.
Yeah. So when we started watching ECW, this is what we...
Bullet Club does that all the time.
Yeah.
Frankie Kazarian.
Yeah. When we started watching ECW, it was Sabu, RVD, Alfonso.
Yeah.
That's the team we...
And they were hot.
Yes.
So this seemed to be the genesis of that.
Yes. Alfonso dropped a promo. RVD dropped another promo. All good stuff.
All great stuff. Yeah, it was fantastic. It was a really good match.
Yeah, fantastic.
Joey Styles then introduced Tommy Dreamer and, of course, the lovely Beulah McGillicuddy. They're married.
Yep.
Like, legit.
Yep.
It's great.
Tommy Dreamer was joining Styles on commentary, which took us to our triple threat match, the winner of which would be the #1 contender for the ECW World Title and face Raven right afterwards.
Yeah. This was a fun, hardcore, extreme match. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the note here, Sandman started bleeding before the match.
Well, he walks through the curtain.
Yeah.
And he's got like a cut on his forehead already. And I didn't notice if he started doing the beer can thing to his forehead.
Yeah.
But by the time he got to the ring and started posing in front of the crowd, he was already bleeding.
No, he did.
Okay.
Because I didn't notice the cut when he came out. I just noticed the blood as he was doing this. I was like, oh, that's messed up. But apparently he was like, well, I want to get a lot of blood going. So, and then he comes out there and he does this knowing that.
No, I think that cut was just from a previous match that hadn't healed yet. Because it looked like it had healed up somewhat because it wasn't bleeding actively.
I thought that's what you meant. It was bleeding actively.
No. He came out with
so
a healing cut.
Yeah, he cut up with that
during a previous match.
Yeah.
And they came out and then just reopened it.
Kind of a bummer. Like, I totally associated him with Enter Sandman. So kind of a bummer that we didn't get that, but it's a network. What are you going to do?
Yeah. This match, as you say, was a lot of fun. There was this spot where they're all giving each other chops.
Oh my gosh.
Sandman had one that was like literally a sonic boom.
Yeah, that was
onto Terry
massive.
Funk.
Yeah, that was massive.
We didn't even say who was in this match. It's Stevie Richards versus Sandman versus Terry Funk.
Correct. Triple threat dance. Triple three-way dance.
Yes, great spot where Terry Funk gave Stevie Richards like 4 or 5
I made in my notes right here. I said I could watch Funk's neck breaker all day long. They look so crisp. They were great. And yeah, he gave him 4 in a row. It was fantastic.
And Sandman has great aim when throwing weapons into the ring.
Yeah.
Early in the match, he threw a ladder in the ring, hit Funk right in the head. Later on, he threw a garbage can.
Yeah, a garbage can like wrapped in steel. That's what Tommy said.
Yeah.
And he was trying to remove. So I think what it was a single-use garbage can, which they wanted to make a multi-use garbage can.
Inside something else, right?
Well, no, I'm saying that inside the something else was what turned it into a multi-use garbage can.
Yeah.
But yeah, he threw that. It hit Funk right in the head. But Funk like no-sold it.
Yeah.
Like it just sort of...
There was a lot of times where Funk got hit with a punch or a kick and completely no-sold it.
Yeah. It was... Oh, it was fantastic.
So after the Sandman threw the ladder in the ring, of course the ladder was going to get involved further. The ladder was set up in one of the corners. Sandman and Terry Funk both scale opposite sides of the ladder. They fight. Funk does a moonsault off the ladder.
Oh my God!
Onto Stevie Richards.
Yeah, Lacey was doing her makeup at that point. I had to rewind and say, "Look at this old man. He was 52 at the time, I think, something like that."
Sounds right.
Because he's 72 now. So yeah, wait.
No, he's 54. I think they said.
That could be. I thought it said on Wikipedia he's 72. This was 20 years ago, so I did math in my head.
Well, your math would be correct, but I don't. Here, carry on.
Okay. So yeah, that was crazy to watch.
Oh, yeah, he is 72.
You can see like his hip, like that dude's just destroying his hips.
Yeah,
because this was right around the time they were filming Beyond the Mat, I think, and then he was looking to retire.
Yeah,
he's all in hardcore matches.
Oh yeah,
crazy bastard.
There was a super kick party from Stevie Richards.
That was his super kicks were great.
Yeah,
they were so crisp.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Funk gives Stevie a pile driver, and then there's a stretch where Terry Funk and the Sandman start double teaming Stevie Richards.
Yeah, it was
It kind of came out of nowhere.
It was this hilarious, like, non-communicative double team.
Yeah.
It was as if they weren't really acknowledging each other, just that they both wanted to beat up on Stevie.
Yeah.
And so it was like, at one point I noticed it when, what was this sequence? It was something that maybe it was involving a ladder or the garbage can. Like, Sandman hit Funk, I think, with a garbage can, and that rolled away, and Funk just got up and started walking to the garbage can as Sandman was walking away from it.
Yeah.
There was no attempt to keep Funk away from the object.
Yeah, I know. It's like they didn't acknowledge the other person's presence in the match for a stretch.
Like in two separate universes.
But they would work together because when Funk gave Stevie the pile driver, Sandman helped.
Yeah.
Stevie was eliminated because Sandman and Funk powerbombed him.
Well, yeah, but then there was a pin attempt earlier where Funk pinned Stevie Richards.
Oh yeah, and Sandman just stands around. I know.
Right there.
Did you notice that spot where the ladder was set up on the outside, it was against the ring ropes, and Sandman's outside hits it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's supposed to hit Stevie on the outside, but the ladder just about flies into the crowd.
I know. It was great. Oh, it's so reckless. It was great.
Yeah. So after Stevie is eliminated, Sandman goes under the ring, brings out some barbed wire.
Eliminated. He still.
Well, he just can't win.
He just can't win. Yeah, he still was in the match basically. Like, he leaves for a bit.
Yeah, and then comes back out, gets involved a little bit. Funk starts hitting Sandman with barbed wire.
Sandman wraps himself in that barbed wire and starts hitting it.
Like, runs into Funk.
Runs into
times.
Funk with it. Yeah.
Does a top rope leg drop
At this point, Funk, I think, is like bleeding down here.
He has a cut in his back.
Yeah.
Stevie gives Sandman a super kick. Funk does a moonsault onto Sandman while Sandman's still wrapped in barbed wire.
Yeah.
Picks up the win. He is the #1 contender. Then Raven just appears. Maybe I looked away for 5 seconds. But it seemed like as if Raven teleported immediately to the ring.
It was Insta-Raven. It was totally Insta-Raven. Like, he was just there all of a sudden.
And he hits Funk with the title.
Yeah, he hits Funk with the title. He starts... Yeah, Dr. Brian Zane comes down. Dude looked exactly like Brian Zane.
Well, let's go back a little bit because, Raven does one of his trademark moves. He sets up the chair in the middle of the ring and does a drop toe hold onto his opponent. And this busted Terry Funk open. Or somebody shot Funk in the forehead because it was tons of blood
everywhere.
Tons of blood.
It was everywhere. So then a doctor comes out. He looked exactly like Brian Zane. He's checking on Funk. Meanwhile, then Raven puts a...
because Funk says, "Doctor, get away."
Yeah.
They continue for a little bit. Raven sets up a table on the outside, puts Funk on it, does like a plancha onto Funk, putting Funk and Raven through the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think the doctor comes back to check on Funk after that. Raven knocks him out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Raven's Nest, not the flock, the nest comes out to the ring and starts attacking Terry Funk.
What was the name of that girl? Reggie something or other?
Yeah.
Reggie something. She was rad. I want to know what happened to her. She gave Funk a powerbomb that was nasty.
Yeah, so Raven grabs the mic and talks to Tommy Dreamer and says, hey, I'm going to essentially retire Terry Funk right here. I'm going to put him through 3 tables.
Yeah.
Because while he's doing that, Raven's Nest is over by where Dreamer is, by the commentary area, setting up 3 tables.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much right as Raven concludes his promo, Tommy Dreamer rips a piece of chain off the wall so he can have access.
Because he's like up in sort of a balcony type thing, doing commentary.
That's about 3 tables high.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
We know that because there are 3 tables set up on each other.
And the top table is maybe 6 inches from the platform.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, Big Dick Dudley comes out.
Nice.
And attacks Tommy.
Yeah.
While that's happening, cut back to the ring. Raven DDTs the ref.
Nice.
Cut back. Big Dick is about to chokeslam Tommy.
Tries to chokeslam Tommy, who then is able to reverse it. Hits the R2.
Yeah.
And gets the reversal and chokeslams Big Dick Dudley off the balcony through 3 tables.
Yes.
But man, there was such a low margin of error there.
Yeah.
Because like the tables, like you said, maybe 6 inches, but kind of butted up against.
Yeah, it's right against the wall.
Against the wall. And so it's like he could, choke slams, the big guys especially, you choke them outwards, This, he had to like just sort of do this. And even that, like he was falling, but luckily, he didn't luckily he didn't skid off the table.
Well, also he stayed parallel with the wall for the most part.
Right, yeah.
So if he'd went perpendicular, that would have been real bad.
Yeah.
One kind of story going on throughout this whole 2 matches was that Terry Funk didn't want Tommy Dreamer to interfere in the match on his behalf.
You're right.
Funk wanted to do this on his own. And it got to the point where Tommy said, enough. Tommy comes down the ring, gives Raven a DDT. Funk goes for the pin. Raven kicks out at 2.
Yeah.
Funk immediately rolls him up, gets the 3 count, wins, is the new ECW World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. Good looking belt too. It was before they had a new ECW belt.
Yeah.
Because it sold looked old school.
And so Funk, covered in blood, goes out to the crowd and starts celebrating with Tommy Dreamer.
Yeah. This is before we knew a lot of different things about biology and chemistry and getting somebody else's blood all over you.
Well, no, I think it was pretty clear back in '97 that it was probably not a good idea to do that.
Yeah, people didn't care.
Nope.
That's great. That crowd was fantastic. Though.
Yeah.
It's a weird mix too. Man, that was great though. It was a really, really fun pay-per-view to watch. So now the question is, what's next? For you $10 patrons, you get to vote on the following 3 possibilities. Number 1. In Your House 5 Seasons Beatings. It's got, what is it, Bret Hart versus who?
The Bulldog, British Bulldog.
British Bulldog.
Title match.
Yeah.
And it's, I already forgot what else is on it, but it's a fun-looking card.
It's a good. We're trying to expose ourselves to good Bret Hart. That seems like,
or just more Bret Hart.
More Bret Hart. We want to
see what the deal's about.
We want to see what the big deal about this Bret Hart character is. We also have available to vote on Bash at the Beach 1994. That was the Hulk Hogan's WCW debut, pay-per-view debut, where he fought Ric Flair. You got to love that with WCW, is that immediately he comes in, he fights Ric Flair, the match that WWF never gave us.
Yeah.
So that's appreciative. We're appreciative of that. And then we have Clash of the Champions 14 Dixie Dynamite, which is my personal favorite of the batch. And in that match in that card, we have the debut of the Shockmaster, which is kind of all you need to know.
Yes.
But what was the main event there again?
It was Ric Flair versus Scott Steiner. Don't spoil how it ends.
Not the Scott Steiner that we grew to know and love, the pre-Scott Steiner.
Yeah, but don't spoil the ending.
There's also I won't.
You haven't watched it yet, but you just saw what the card was.
There's also Steve Austin versus Ricky Steamboat for the U.S. Championship. That actually should be a good match.
Yeah.
So, anyways, those are
that might be on Bash 94.
Oh, is that Bash 94?
Yeah, it's Bash 94.
Oh, never mind. Okay, that was Bash 94. There's also Paul Roma and Paul Orndorff versus Cactus Jack and Kevin Sullivan. Terry Funk and Buckhouse Buck defeated Dustin Rhodes and Arn Anderson. So much weird. Anyways, those are your choices. We'll put them up. You can do your research and let us know what you think and vote on that. And then
yes.
Whatever it is, we'll watch.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's it. And until next time, we'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.